Welcome to Gunner Shot. Northern Command held a seminar recently on the future battlefield and the need for techno military commanders. The seminar was a two-stage seminar. In stage one, the entire focus was on the essay competition to identify the requirements and competencies for commanders at the theater, strategic, stroke operational, and tactical levels. There was a wide participation from Northern Command and as well from outside in this essay competition. The stage two of this entire seminar or the entire event was the seminar proper. The seminar itself was a 2 day seminar which was held on the 16th and 17th January. It was held in conjunction with academia and think tanks to brainstorm issues and prepare commanders for future conflicts. The emphasis was on how technology can come into the armed forces. On day one of the seminar, selected essays which were part of the essay competition, the best essays, were selected, and the officers presented their ideas to the gathering. On day two, views were presented by subject matter experts, including distinguished veterans and the senior leadership of the armed forces. Besides those in the Northern Command, many training institutions and other formations and those from outside also had access to see the proceedings of the seminar. I was asked to speak on redefining organizational structures, doctrines, capacities, and training in sync with the future battlefield. I could not travel to Udhampur physically. As a result, I addressed the seminar in the video conferencing mode. What follows is the presentation which I gave during the seminar, and it was to eminent panel and to a wide-ranging uh, audience. Best of luck and happy viewing. I'd also like you to give me a feedback on certain proposals and certain ideas I put forth. I look forward to them. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I'd like to thank the GOC&C Northern Command and the Chief of Staff Northern Command for inviting me to talk to all of you. It's a great pleasure to be with all of you once again. At the same time, it's for me a matter of honor that my old GOC&C and my boss, General A.K. Singh, is presiding over this panel, which is actually very great. And of course, to be alongside Ashok Shivane and Praveen Bakshi, whom we've known each other from NDA days, it's a great feeling. I'll talk of this from a very practical perspective, not much theory, and it's going to be quite disruptive because that's the flavor of technology which is happening these days. Next, please. You all heard of this Ukrainian missile strike which took place on the Russian forces, where there were 89 casualties. And the location of this target was revealed by mobile phones. When you analyze the whole thing, you see a hint of space or drone-based surveillance and the possible use of AI put in all this. Now, that's what warfare is. Technology is there. High-end, cutting-edge technology is there. You'll ask me, what's the picture behind? The picture behind is the outline of a US Army base, which has been highlighted by use of mobile phones, basically fitness apps. So when you use, say, Chinese mobile phones or Chinese apps, this is the outcome, right? In fact, I've written an article on it on Chinese AI and on national security. Today, everything is there with you, and you are the leak as you hold your mobile phone. Okay, the next one, please. Next slide. Yesterday was an era of revolution in military affairs. With a whole lot of disruptive technologies which have come in, we are looking at the disruption in military affairs, which General Ashok Shivane also mentioned. And this is what we have to be cognizant of. There are no rules. All rules are being broken by the minute. Next, please. Right. I did carry out analysis as what are the technologies which are required for high altitudes, right? And this is the matrix which came out. And this is what one needs to focus. And this is what one needs to understand, that how do you get hold of these? That's what we have a problem. When you talk of battlefield transparency, you're looking at space, GIS, unmanned systems, night vision sensors, and AI technologies. When you look at range, you're looking at great propulsion, manned and unmanned systems, control and guidance systems. When you talk of precision, which I think is very important, which General Shivane also spoke, you're looking at terminal guidance, seekers, AI, space, designation and acquisition technologies. You're looking at networks. Networks are the thing of the future. You're looking at communications, 5G. You're looking at fiber optics, cyber technology, and AI. Right? Energy. Battlefield energy is going to be one of the biggest challenges as we go ahead, which not many of us realize. You're looking at renewable energies. You're looking at fuel cells. You're looking at space-based energy. And you're also looking at nuclear energy, which I'll talk of a little while. Mobility. Mobility is an important battlefield factor. We all know it. But you need lightweight materials. You need infrastructure. You need permafrost technologies and engine technologies. Are we there? Survivability. You're looking at individual protection capabilities, collective protection, medical technologies, which is very important for all of us to survive and fight well, and weapon protection. These are things which I've identified. How we get them depends on how you're going to manage your structures. Next slide, please. Okay, what are the technology of the last century? This is very interesting. In the last century, USA was producing military aircraft by the hour, tanks by the day, and warships by the week or even less. The entire American industry focused on churning out military equipment which could beat the Germans and the Japanese qualitatively and quantitatively, and they did it successfully. There's something many of us don't realize. In fact, General Shivane touched upon it, called the civil-military fusion. It has to be seamless. It has to be your industrial base which defeats the other country's industrial base. Now, what's there in this century? Next slide, please. Yeah, the technologies of this century which are going to hit the adversary are quantum computing, AI, space, cyber technologies, additive manufacturing, synthetic biology, semiconductors, energy, communication networks, cloud memory, and data sovereignty. If you look at it, all these things are being harnessed, manufactured, or thought of in the civil industry. You're talking of space, AI, Starlinks. Data sovereignty, the JEDI program, where the US government has spent $10 billion and given it to Microsoft to protect the systems, right? And interestingly, all these ideas and all these technologies and the impact of all these on the battlefield, I got from a talk between Eric Schmidt, who's the CEO of Google, and another, the CTO, the Chief Technical Officer of OpenAI. And this guy was just about 35 years old. And they explained to me in an open program as to how these technologies are going to hit the battlefield. It was a revelation. We need to progress to that. We need to think of all these. The problem with India is we are not mastered the technologies of the last century. We're into this century and we are floundering here. Right. Next slide, please. Okay. Someone spoke of multi-domain warfare. This is my concept of multi-domain warfare. It might not be the thing with this. If you look at it, we are neither in a state of peace or war, which General Shivane again spoke of. Yeah, you're going to be acted upon by state actors, non-state and state-sponsored, or NGOs and MNCs. All these chaps are all actors in this game. The means could be hard, soft, conventional, or gray zone activities. Well, let me look at the model itself. From the top, air, land, and sea are conventional, domains. Space, cyberspace, nuclear, and the electromagnetic spectrum. These are the technology domains. They're going to be there. Then you're looking at energy, which is part technology, part traditional. Energy, politics, diplomacy, and economy are the traditional domains. They'll continue. Then the three, public opinion, legal, and influence. These are the three war strategies which China has been, adopting very freely. Now, these are important. And then, of course, the health domain, through which for the past 3 years, we've been fighting each other. Now, these are the domains which nations are fighting. As armed forces and systems, we are part of this entire fight. But then the question is, okay, these domains exist. How do they translate into the operational, tactical, and strategic? That's the next slide. Next slide, please. I just put it the way it is. It is seamless. It is interchangeable, but broadly at the tactical level, it will be the air, land, sea battle. You're going to be having legal issues because that's what the LAC is all about. That's what the LOC is all about. That's what the IOR all about. You're going to have a lot of legal issues at the tactical level. And you're going to be living through the cyber war day in and day out. At the operational level, the fundamental technology war is going to be fought. Space, nuclear spectrum. When I say spectrum, the electromagnetic spectrum and everything which goes under the electromagnetic spectrum. Energy and public opinion. Do our structures orient themselves to this? What is operational is a different issue. That something someone else can decide. But this is where this battle is going to be fought. This is where this battle is going to be. Tomorrow's battles are going to be conceived and executed. At the strategic level, yeah, you can continue talking of politics, diplomacy, economy, health, and influence. So you need to start thinking differently to approach technology and apply it into the battlefield. Next slide, please. Okay, I've always felt that the Indian armed forces are strong enough to guard the territorial integrity and sovereignty of the nation. Of course, if we are prepared to put up with the occasional salami slicing attempt, which they did at Eastern Ladakh and in Yangtze recently. But the question is, are the Indian armed forces ready to anchor India's rise as a global power? The answer in all cases is not it. And the difference between these two states is technology. Right, next. Next slide, please. Okay, what do you have to do to get hold of all these technologies and put them and infuse them into the battlefield? The first thing, you need politico-military fusion. Today, we are in a situation where we have a politico-bureaucratic military equation, right? It's a strange equation. How we get around this and how we transform this is our biggest challenge. The day you do this, you're on a different system altogether. You need civil-military fusion. There's no two ways about it. I've highlighted you the technologies of the last century from where they came out, and today's technologies where they being conceived and made. Right? We need to have some kind of ecosystem like that. Is it idealistic? It is. Is it required? There's no way out. Okay. Then you need a battlefield energy management system. I think we have to think differently by the old system of taking kerosene up to Ashok Post. You need to have a different thought of energy, and that's when your battlefield will become light. It will become environmentally protectable or great. You have to think differently, something which we are not thought of. Yeah, there's the next thing. We all talk of technology, but our entire armed forces are command oriented. Everyone is assessed to be a commander or nothing else. So I think we need to really think through this, and I think the MS branch has a huge role to play. In fact, if I put it, I've served in MS branch twice. I think today that's the biggest, internally, one of the biggest walls to be broken. You have to think differently. Yeah, we are in a process-driven system where the outcomes don't matter, the process matters. And we have to transform ourselves into a system which drives the process. And if you want to drive the process, what the GOCNC today morning very eruditely put it, the top-down approach or the bottom-up approach. Who's the top? Who's the bottom? You are everything. When do you start driving the process is your choice. It is our choice, our individual choice. The day all of us start driving the system, then be part of the process, you're going to see a change. It's a mental issue. Right. The next thing which I must say is that we do not understand technology. I'll just put it in perspective. We all talk of AI technology and AI and all that. As of today, there's an army node in Mau. 3 years back, when I visited that node, there was only one officer there. There is only one officer doing AI for the Indian Army as a node. I think we need to rethink the whole thing. We don't understand technology. We talk technology. We don't understand it. We don't know how to implement it. That is something which is very, very important. And if you see the Army Future Command System of the USA, they've used their establishments, the training establishments, to affect this change. And I think that's where we have to focus very seriously. Right, then there's a mental block we have. Everything anyone does is viewed with suspicion due to lack of knowledge. We need to invest with trust and create new values. Right, and you have to create new avenues for things to succeed. Right, this is something which is very important. And unless we have this mental change, we are not going to go towards technology, because technology, unless it's understood and trusted upon, and you have to trust to make things, you can't do things. Right, next, please. Okay, how are you going to go about it? What is the way ahead? Everything, we can all talk. But I'm going to tell you something which I have tried and I've started, and I've put this on track through some projects in IIT Madras, and it's progressing. So I'll put these things to you. This is only a representative of what can be done ahead, and this has to be built upon. Right? Some start has been made in the Army Design Bureau, but I think that's quite still we are in the process of thinking, will the Muhammad come to the mountain or mountain go to the mountain? Okay, next slide, please. Okay, 3 years back, I started this project on ramjet technology. Okay, now ramjet technology is the only technology which is left to increase range in any propulsive system, whether you call it the space rockets or this thing. And it's not a new technology; it's a pretty old technology, but we are adapting it to guns. We've been doing it for the past 3 years, and let me tell you, it's just taken me 3 years. Okay, and next month, I'm going to School of Artillery with my team to actually fire a sub-caliber of this. We are doing this for the 155mm gun system. We are actually going to fire a 75mm caliber, prototype. Now, what does this ramjet technology do? If you see on the left corner, for a Dhanush gun, or you get a range which is today if you can fire 30 kilometers, tomorrow you go up to 61 kilometers. In the case of attacks, it's almost double. You actually double the range. The moment you double the range, the entire battlefield equation changes. Right? And the right, you see, the right block, you see the progress which we made. We already tested the 1/3 model, that is the 50mm model in IIT. The half scale is being tested in February in School of Artillery. And the full scale by December we will do. And we're also developing an indigenous precision guidance kit. On the right, if you see the smaller one, that's the front fuse with canards. We're developing this. Why am I putting all this? Because this is cutting edge technology which has been developed within 3 years. You just have to think differently to get all this there. Just for your information, this ramjet technology, people from we're taking up a joint collaboration with them. They're after us. We have this technology. If I can have this technology in one field, why can't I have it anywhere else? It's a matter of structures and people in place. Precision guidance kits and precision guidance technology. Till last year, I didn't know where I was going to get the next thing from. I was still looking outside. Today, I'm confident that I'll make this precision guidance kit on my own. Yeah, I will need to buy components from abroad, but I'll do it on my own because I've sweated for it. I put my own structure in place. I might get delayed a bit, but I'll get this technology in. That's the point. We have to think differently and you'll get it. Okay, next slide. Yeah, we have this existing Pinaka guided rocket, which I spearheaded when I was at the fag end of my tenure as a DGRT. Later it came in, now it's in service with 80 kilometers. Right? The propulsion system is in the middle of this rocket system, as you see it. Right. You change this propulsion system, you can change many things. Next slide, please. So we've evolved something called the Pinaka model. Next. If you look at it, the first model of Pinaka which is probably deployed in Northern Command also, has, with a normal propellant, it gives you a range of 37 kilometers. The Mark II version, which has got the case-bonded propellant and guidance, right, gives you a range of 80 kilometers, which is in service today. The Mark III, which I'm aiming at, gives you a range of 200 to 250 kilometers with the ramjet propulsion. For me, the next month is important. If this sub-caliber model of 75mm works, and that technology works for me, I'm going to go in for this ramjet-based Pinaka system. Because this is a continual process. You have to be at it. It's not something which is going to happen immediately. It's going to take 2 to 3 years, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years. And then we have the wherewithal to do the hypersonic scramjet. The thing with hypersonic scramjet is you're going to reduce range, but you're going to beat the AD. Just think, if I have this deployed on the Northern Command on the same platform with different ranges, your operational capability changes completely. There's a transformation, and you can feel it. Okay, next. Right, we're also working to design an anti-radiation weapon system based on an existing, Indian Air Force 80 rocket. And I'm looking at a range of about 50 to 80 kilometers. Anti-radiation missile, which is good enough, right? And this is something which I've just started. It's on the drawing board, but we'll have to think through this. Okay, next. Right, we also developed this, the hexacopter, which is on the left. It's a product today. And the Cubed, the quadcopter biplane tail sitter, I'll explain that a little later, but let's look at the left one. It's in-house designed and developed, completely indigenous. And that brings me to the thing. Technology owned is technology which is the cheapest. You buy technology and you're paying through your nose, and you're never going to progress technologically. We are undergoing various stages of testing and operations, but the hexacopter, the Southern Naval Command, we've flown over it, we've flown over the Cochin Harbor, we've mapped the Cochin Harbor, and they're keen that they're going to go in for it. This quadrotor biplane, which is, again, our own technology, developed by one of my professors, who developed a similar thing for the US Army, incidentally. If you see on the right bottom, it will first hover, then it will transition, and then go into a forward flight. This is something which is going to transform many things. We talk of drones and all that in Ukraine. Let's talk of drones in Northern Command. And own drones, not bought out from Israel. Okay, next slide. Okay, this brings me to the thing. What is the new structure we have to bring in? What are the new things which we have to get in so that the technology at the base level is changed? In IIT Madras, we are starting the Center for Ammunition Research and Development. What are the things we're going to focus on? And I've just taken this as an example, and you can expand it to anything else. We're going to talk of precision. We're going to do research on lethality. We're going to do research on range. We're going to do research on intelligence. And then we're going to do research on import substitution. Because we got a whole lot of weapons which are aging and which need life extension. Okay. If you don't have the technology to do life extension, you're going to lose it, and it comes down to money. So we're going to focus on all these 5. We have to take it forward. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, what are the technologies which we have resident at just one institute, IIT Madras? We have all this: AI, 3D printing, additive manufacturing, some outstanding enablement we can do. Right? We have NDT, one of the best places in the country for non-destructive testing. We're very important in design, very important in later on MRO. You got propulsive materials. I think we have a world-class system here, Endmine Technologies, 3D simulation, guidance and control, and we have an extensive startup system. We have the biggest startup system in India today. And we have the experience of the ramjet projectile, which has taught us a hell of a lot. Okay, next. Next slide, please. Okay. How do you synergize all this? How do you synergize the army? How does Bhoop Singh, in Chushul, get to feel all this and etc.? This is how at least this is the way I am trying, because I have no other way. Sitting in IIT Madras, we said, okay, let's have card. At the top, we're going to have user nodes, Army, Navy, Air Force. I've already spoken to School of RT. I've spoken to INS Dronacharya. I've spoken to DGAD. They're going to be the people who are going to do things for us and enable things happening for us. Like I said, we're going to do the testing of the ramjet projectile, not in a DRDO lab, but in School of Artillery. At the center, you have the card. On the left, we have to have linkages with almost the entire, technical fraternity in India, because it's a national effort. It's not a singular one-man effort. You have to get, technologies from various sources which are resident in various quarters in India, including ISRO, BARC, etc. And we have the linkages to do that. On the right is the academic program. And we're going to have academic programs with services industry and all the DPSUs. And this is something which has been missing, right? Because this is something when I came to IIT, I saw a lot of our army officers, naval officers, air force officers, they do MTech. And after that, what do? They do nothing to that, because then they go for command assignments. And the entire knowledge which they gain in MTech is lost. Right? Right. And we're going to have industry cells also. With, say, so far we have tied up with ECIL, Bell, Munitions India, and all that. There's one program, but there's something which we have to go further. This is a nascent structure. This is a model structure. You need to have this for various disciplines, various technologies. If you have it, then you're putting everyone on one grid, right? And this is something which the Vice Chief has understood, and hopefully I should be able to take it forward in a meaningful manner in the future. Okay, next. Next slide, please. Look, this is something which I have pioneered. I'm sure a letter has come down to all formations, etc. I started this thing where, the academic programs in ammunition technology. This is at the present. I've started with ammunition technology. I would like to take it to many more technologies. We are looking at online courses for ammunition technology for anyone and everyone in the armed forces. We are prepared to do it. Those who are on site, who come nominated by MT branch, MT directorate to do MTech, we'll give them, purpose-oriented and specific technology-oriented courses, rather than they coming and doing MTech and civil and going back and doing something else. Let them do projects which are meant for us. And when our own officers study MTech, study these technologies, and design projects, and through the projects come out JSQRs, then you have stability in the system. Then we can have continuity. If someone spoke of continuity, that continuity will come from places like IIT, and with having guys like me all over in all IITs, and we are pioneering this effect to get the latest technologies out of IIT into the armed forces. Am I getting enough response from everyone? 50-50. At some level, people understand. At the hierarchy level, at the top, people understand it beautifully. In fact, but at the lower level, is there a connect? I'm afraid it's not there. We need to rethink how to do this in a more, outcome-oriented manner. But having said that, I've already put this proposal to the MT Directorate. I'm just awaiting their go. I want to start this business of learning and imparting technology to army officers. And who are my focus? My focus is that infantry officer who doesn't have a technical degree. If he is educated to get at least a diploma from IIT, if not a full-time degree or right, we are on a different thing altogether. And this is what I'm doing. And in fact, we've gone to the extent of saying IIT Madras can conduct capsules on technologies related to weapons and ammunition to officers attending various courses. I am prepared to take people and teach them, because unless we learn technology, we can't implement technology. My generation was not taught technology the way I think I'm trying to endeavor to teach the next generation technology, because if you don't learn about technology, we are out of the game. Yeah, next. Right, this is my last slide and my last offer. IIT Madras team can come to Northern Command, visit forward areas, and evolve ways to enhance technology capabilities in the Army through direct interaction with users. It's nice to have all these great seminars. It's a great form of interaction. But at the end of the day, there has to be something practical where you can lay your hands on. And this is my offer. I'm sure General Dwivedi and General Raja Subramani and the GOC 16 Corps will take it up. Just let us know. We'll take it forward and hope that we can, all of us together, can transform our system, which is very strong, mind you, into a better system with, top of the line technology. Thank you. Any questions, I'll take them on as and when the time comes. Thank you. Thanks, sir.